Going into Weapons, my expectations were really high, and for good reason. The concept alone sounded awesome, sparking my imagination right away. But the biggest hype came from knowing it was directed by Zach Cregger, who made Barbarian, one of my favorite modern horror films. Barbarian was smart, unpredictable, and expertly crafted, so I was excited to see what he do next. Early buzz called the Weapons incredible, which usually makes me worry about overhype, but this time it totally lived up to it.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
When the credits rolled, I didn't think for a second that Weapons was overhyped. Everyone's calling this incredible, and I had an incredible time watching it. This is one of those films that doesn't just pull you in, it grabs you by the collar and refuses to let go until the final frame. I was glued to the screen the whole time, not just because of the scares, but because it felt like every scene had something to offer, whether it was tension, character work, or jaw-dropping visuals. The structure in particular hooked me. The way it switches POVs between different characters, letting us see their personal stories and how they each react to the horrors unfolding, was fascinating. It gave the film a sense of scope and depth you don't usually see in horror, and somehow it managed to balance that without losing momentum. The plot kicks off when, at 2:17 a.m., a whole class leaves their homes and ventures into the darkness, sparking a mysterious and terrifying journey as they try to figure out where they've ended up. Starting off with the positives, the cinematography is a standout element. It's both stunning and unsettling, perfectly capturing the eerie atmosphere that runs throughout the film. The framing and lighting work hand in hand to create a mood that keeps you on edge, even during quieter, less intense scenes. There's a subtle tension in the visuals that lingers, making ordinary moments feel charged with unease. This visual style amplifies the horror without relying solely on jump scares or gore, giving the film a sophisticated atmosphere that draws you deeper into its world. The acting in Weapons is truly impressive. Every actor fully embraces their role, making their characters feel real and believable, even amid the chaos. This authenticity is crucial in a horror film because it makes the scares more effective. The performances capture subtle emotions, fear, confusion, vulnerability that help you connect with the characters on a deeper level. Because you care about them, the tension becomes more intense and the horror hits harder. This grounded acting elevates the film, keeping you engaged and invested throughout the story. When it comes to horror elements, Weapons hits the mark perfectly. The jump scares are carefully spaced and incredibly effective. They never feel cheap or overused. Instead, they catch you off guard at just the right moments, intensifying the suspense. The gore is nothing short of impressive, featuring some of the most brutal and inventive effects I've seen in recent horror films. What's important is that the gore doesn't feel gracious. It serves the story and fits seamlessly with the film's tone, enhancing the overall experience rather than distracting from it. All these elements come together beautifully to make Weapons one of the most entertaining and memorable horror movies of 2025 so far. The film masterfully blends a gripping and unpredictable story with striking atmospheric visuals, strong grounded performances and expertly timed scares that never feel forced or overused. This perfect combination keeps you fully engaged and on the edge of your seat from beginning to end. Honestly, considering everything it brings to the table, Weapons might just end up being my favorite horror film of the year and the standout entry in the genre. That said, I do have a few nitpicks that stood out while watching it. There's a particular character who I won't name to avoid spoilers, whose presence in the story felt strong and intriguing. However, despite their importance, the film never gives us a dedicated chapter from their perspective. Considering how the movie unfolds through various character POVs, this felt like a missed opportunity. Giving this character their own chapter could have added valuable depth, helped clarify their motivations, and made their role in the story more impactful. Without that, their arc feels somewhat incomplete, leaving questions unanswered and some potential unexplored. Another aspect that puzzled me was some of the imagery used in certain shots. While the film is visually striking overall, there were moments where I wasn't quite sure what the intention was behind certain images. These shots didn't seem to add much to the story or mood, and at times felt a bit disjointed or confusing. I appreciate artistic choices that invite interpretation, but these moments didn't quite land for me. Instead of enhancing the narrative or atmosphere, they left me wondering if something got lost in translation or editing. The chapter-based structure is one of the film's strengths, giving it a fresh way to tell a layered story. But even with that, some characters' sections felt a bit underdeveloped. A few of these chapters introduced cool characters and ideas, but in hindsight didn't add much to the main plot or overall understanding. Conversationally, other characters who clearly had more potential didn't get enough screen time or narrative focus to fully flesh out their arcs. This imbalance made parts of the movie feel uneven. Some chapters packed a punch, while others drifted a little without really pushing the story forward. Lastly, there's the narration choice. At the beginning and the end of the movie, Arcade's voice addresses the audience directly, providing some exposition and framing the story in a unique way. I actually liked this stylistic choice and thought it added a layer of intrigue. However, by the time the credits rolled, I was left scratching my head, asking myself, who was that kid? The character never appears in the movie itself, isn't referenced by any other characters, and doesn't seem to exist within the story's world. It felt like an odd narrative device that didn't quite connect with the rest of the film's universe. That lingering question stuck with me, and I would have appreciated a little more clarity on that front.
This is a true story. It happened right here in my town.
Overall though, I absolutely loved Weapons. It's everything I wanted it to be. Bold, creative, tense, and insanely fun. It delivers on the promise of its concept, and it shows that Zach Cregger is not a one-hit wonder. If anything, it cements him as one of the most exciting voices in horror right now. This is a movie I'm going to be thinking about for a long time, and there's so much to unpack that I'm already planning a spoiler review to really dive deep into its twists and details. For now, I can confidently say this: Weapons is incredible, and I'm giving it a final score of 9.5 out of 10. Alright, that's my take on weapons for now. I'd love to hear what you guys thought about it. Did it live up to the hype for you like it did for me? Were there parts you loved or maybe some things you didn't fully connect with? Drop your thoughts and opinions below in the comments. I'm really curious to see how your experience compares. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.